started with, and hopefully the other folks will join by the time Jocelyn gets started. So if we're good to go, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's virtual Lunch and Learn session. I'm Rachel George, and it's terrific to see so many smiling faces and familiar names on this call, so thank you for joining us. We'll start with some housekeeping. We're recording this session, and we're monitoring the chat, but encourage you to speak up and ask questions as we go. However, if you aren't speaking, please go on mute. This is the third event in Women United's Lead Hers virtual event series. The Lead Hers series is focused on ways that you can boost your health and wellness so that you can be your best self, both personally and professionally. As part of this series, in order to lead others effectively, we need to first nurture ourselves. The topic of today's session is wellness while you work. And now that most of us, or many of us, are working from home, we're forming new habits, and some of them aren't always healthy. So Jocelyn DeMeo has agreed to join us, has offered to join us and help us with being better and more well while we're working from home. Before we get to the presentation, though, let me introduce a few key folks to you. First of all, I'd like to introduce Julia Monique Johnson, who is our chair of Women United, and myself, I'm the vice chair, and Lauren Pereira, who is the manager of Women United, and she works for United Way. And then I'd also like to introduce some other leaders in Women United, Jan Turner and Erica Dean, who are the co-chairs of the Engagement Committee, and the Engagement Committee has figured out the different events and series and activities that we're going to be doing or that we've been doing this year. And then also myself and Sandy Perillo, we helped organize this event and put it together. I'd like to mention Erica again because she has received an award recently, the Millard Pryor Award, for her work on the Amistad Juneteenth event, and I just thought it would be nice to take a moment to recognize her good work. Now, Women United volunteers in the community and raises money in the community for financial stability. So I wanted to make you aware of a few volunteer opportunities that are going on right now. And Lauren has been kind enough to put the links to these activities in the chat. And then there's a newsletter that will have links to these activities as well. But let me just mention them quickly. On March 2nd, there's Read Across America Day. And in our virtual world, this is so easy in that you just pick a child's book, you record yourself reading it, and we send it to the United Way, and they'll get it to Hartford Public Schools and the Hartford Public Library, and they will show those videos to the second graders. Also, we are partnered with Grace Academy, which is a girls' school in Hartford for 7th and 8th graders, a middle school. And there's a mentor program to partner up with the girls on Wednesdays for not quite an hour to help them with whatever activities and things happen to be going on with their lives. And then finally, our signature fundraiser, Power of the Purse, it is our largest fundraiser, and it's going to be on June 17th. We have a committee that we form because it is a labor-intensive event, but it's such a wonderful event. But we could use help on the planning committee, and if anyone would like to volunteer for that, it's a very rewarding experience and a fun and financially successful event. Now I'm going to move on to the health and wellness program that we're going to be delivering today. And I want to thank Jocelyn DeMeo for taking time out of her busy schedule to be with us. Jocelyn is co-owner and Chief Empowered Officer at Empowered Indoor Cycling and Strength Studio in Glastonbury. She's been teaching fitness classes for more than 20 years and has numerous fitness and wellness certifications. Her classes are fun, upbeat, and offer a lot of variety. And I know that from experience because I've been to Empowered several times. She has a state-of-the-art spinning room and a full fitness room. I'm not a spinner enthusiast, actually, but I know it's good for me. So I really enjoy the combo class she offers that combines weights, abs, and spinning. And the class flies by because you change it up so quickly. When Jocelyn isn't leading her classes, she's working her full-time corporate job or volunteering. Most of her volunteer experience is with the United Way Women United, where she's been an active member since 2013. And I am a Women United member because of Jocelyn. She invited me to an event 5 years ago, and I joined soon after. Jocelyn earned a master's degree in science from Eastern Connecticut State University. I know she's very excited to be here today and get started, but before she does, let me just share a little bit more about her studio. Empowered serves to build your body, not break it, by offering low impact but high intensity options. There are over 35 classes each week, from cycling to bar to core to combo class, which is the one I love, and more. She has some great introductory offers, and there's something for everyone. So I encourage you all to check it out. So Jocelyn, thank you for being with us, and take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me today, Rachel and Lauren and Women United community. As Rachel said, I have been a member of this community since 2013 and have held a variety of roles in leadership positions with you all. And it's really interesting for me to be on the other side of the house now as a guest speaker. So I'm happy to be here. It's time to prioritize you. No more excuses. We all can find the time to make ourselves better and more well and prioritize ourselves. So we'll get right into the program. Thank you. So one of my first tips is to get more sleep. So really get more Z's. Something that I do or try to do every night. I'm not perfect, but I really do try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. In fact, I do wake up at the same time every day because I have to teach every day. But giving yourself a morning goal, such as for me, it's getting up to teach my class. Maybe for you, it's getting up to go take a class or walk your dog around the park or get up to cook breakfast or whatever it is at a certain time, get up at the same time, and then try to get yourself to sleep at the same time every night. So you're really shooting for that full 8 hours of sleep a night. One thing that I have to say have been guilty of, especially during COVID, is bringing my phone to bed. And so I have stopped doing that. Doesn't enter the room. If, of course, I have a setting on and God forbid there's an emergency in the middle of the night, I will hear that from the other room, but it's not there. So I'm not tempted to roll over and reach for it. When you do that, you interrupt your sleep, which is so important. And then your mind starts to wander and you start to think about other things that you lose all this precious time in the middle of the night when your body should really be relaxing, as should your brain. So my advice is don't bring your phone to bed. Go to bed early, same time every night. Try to get your 8 hours of sleep. Seems obvious, but it's a challenge. And we're going to talk more about a challenge at the end, where I'm going to challenge you to do some of these things over the next 60 days. Next page, please, Lauren. All right. Fueling your body. So eating 3 meals a day, I would say even if you could try to eat at least 3 meals a day and try to keep them all about the same proportion, including proteins. There's all different types of proteins, from whey protein to proteins from plants. Include your fruits and vegetables. That's where you're going to get a lot of your fiber. That's going to make you feel full. And then whole grains. So whole grains are things like oatmeal, quinoa, and things that brown rice is a whole grain, things like that aren't processed, just flour, right? So I would say to try to incorporate at least those into your eating, and that's going to give you more energy. And it really, I'm not going to get into the science behind it, but trust me, you will feel more energized if you eat fruit, protein, whole grains at your 3 meals. And then throughout the day, have some healthy snacks to keep your body fueled. So non-processed snacks. So instead of reaching for that bag of Doritos, reach for something that you are going to actually get something out of for your body. I brought a couple of my little favorite snacks. I do eat a lot of fruit, but I wanted to show you these Triscuits. Now, don't be deceived. They are different than the other Triscuits in the store. You have to look for this little whole grains box, a little indicator on the side of the box. That means that you're getting whole grains into your body instead of processed grains. Another option are, again, I don't get paid commission from any of these companies, by the way. This is just my own opinion. These late July snacks, they have a little variety. Some of them actually are also whole grain. So these are the options that I choose, and you can see that little whole grain option in the back. So those are sort of a couple of my little healthy go-to snacks throughout the day. I might use some hummus with that. That gives me the legumes. So legumes are things like chickpeas, lentils, beans, peanuts. Peanut is a legume, not a nut. Just fun fact there for you. But I do also eat a lot of nuts. And what happens is when you have those snacks throughout the day, they give you just the right amount of fuel for your body, just the right amount of sugar that you need to get through for the next few hours until you're refueling. So that's my little tip throughout the day. We'll go to the next slide and we'll talk about hydration. So drinking up. So the 8x8 rule, very basic rule, drink 8 ounces of water 8 times a day, minimally. Some of the things that I do to help myself constantly drinking water is I have a glass of water, or in this case today, it's a seltzer, a strawberry blueberry flavored seltzer from Stop and Shop. And so throughout the day, it's right there. I can pick it up, I can drink. And then as a result, I will be using the ladies' room quite a bit. So in the bathroom, I also have a cup on the counter to remind myself to have more water. And so that's my recommendation. Drink throughout the day, especially in the cold weather when everything's so dry and we're indoors. It's good for our skin. It's good for our hair. It's good for our throat. It's good just to keep ourselves hydrated. And so I'm actually going to take a break and have a little drink before we go to the next slide. Okay, next up. So mental health breaks. So my advice is to schedule 2 15-minute health breaks per day. And I want you to schedule them in advance on your calendar. And it doesn't need to be the same time every day, but whatever works in your calendar. I do this, and actually in my corporate job, I have my calendar open. I don't have it hidden. Anybody in the company can see. And I do have a line item on there for mental health breaks. And the only time I will accept an invite over that is if it's a real big issue, right? That needs my attention. So I think putting that out there, letting people see this is your time. You don't have to call it mental health break. You could call it focus time. You could just call it, stepping away for a few minutes, whatever it is. But you need that. You need that time to recharge, focus, whether it's meditate for a few minutes. For me, it's often playing with my pets or walking them around the block. Really shut down from digital. Don't take your phone with you. Do something that is something that's going to help you clear your head and refocus away from your work to something that you perhaps may enjoy more in that moment. So for me, my little tip is to schedule it in advance. Put it on your calendar, 2 15-minute breaks throughout your day so that you're forced to get up, stretch your legs, do something that you really enjoy. And then try to get outside. I know it's challenging if you live in the Northeast, and especially today, it's a very cold day today, and I hear it's going to snow later in Connecticut. But try to get outside, spend 15 minutes outside, get that vitamin D. There's a lot of benefits that the sun brings you, right? You have improved memory, you have that little boost, reduced inflammation. There's even linkage to vitamin D and helping with COVID symptoms and prevention of. So that really is my advice, is try to spend some time in the sunshine, even if it's just for 15 minutes. And again, maybe you combine this with one of your 15-minute mental health breaks where you just go outside, walk around the block, or go outside, walk to the mailbox, maybe do a couple stretches outside while you're standing there. But let that vitamin D, let the sun shine on you. And then stretching throughout the day. So I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time sitting. which I really hate. They say that sitting is the equivalent of smoking in these days, right? The more it's just as bad from a health perspective. So you have to find time to get up and stand and step away. One thing that I do sometimes with my team is I'll do a walking one-on-one with them, right? Or I'll say, hey, Robin, let's go for a walk together. Even though she lives in Southington, I live in Glastonbury, we're walking together because we're both walking around the block, got my earphones on, walking the dog. She's doing the same thing. And we're talking and we're working and we're having a conversation and a one-on-one. With technology today, that's very doable, right? You can get a cordless headset. You could even dial in from your phone to a lot of meetings. So I say get up, walk around. That's something that I do. One of my tips is to do the walking one-on-ones. I also would do this when I was working in an office where we would have a walking one-on-one around campus, right? Just to get up and move. And people appreciate that. The other thing is sitting on a stability ball. So I have a stability ball in my office. I'm not sitting on it now, but I do have one right here that I will often go to and pick up and sit down for, probably the equivalent of a couple hours a day. I sit on that thing while I'm working, and it helps me stay, keeps my abs engaged. It forces me to stay balanced. So I'm keeping good posture while I'm working. I'm not hunched over or slumped back in the chair. I'm sitting up tall because I can't wiggle or else I'll fall. So that's a tip. You can pick up a stability ball for relatively inexpensive. It's a great thing to have in your home office and in your work office as well, to keep one there. And then the other thing is just to stand up and stand up at your desk if you can. If you're fortunate enough to have a desk that moves up and down, that's great. My fiance has one. I don't. So I have to get creative about how I fit other exercises into my day. But I thought what I would do is spend the next, Rachel's walking around. I can see her walking around, getting her exercise in. That's great. What I thought I would do for the next several minutes is show you some of the ways that you can stretch at your desk or in your office without needing a lot of room. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. And I do suggest everyone gives this a try with me. So it's not just me doing it, just give it a try. If you don't have to, but if you'd like to turn your camera on, it would be good to see people doing this. There's a handful of exercises that I'm going to run through with you. And if you have any questions on them or need me to slow down, feel free to ask a question on them. All right, so we'll go to the next slide where we have them listed out. And we're just going to start. We're going to sit a little back from our desk so we're not right on top of it. So I have about, and you can't see this, but I have about 1.5 feet between me and the edge of my desk. And I'm just going to start off with a neck roll. So I'm going to slowly roll slowly to one side. When I get to that side, I'm going to roll back to the other side. I don't recommend that you roll backward. You just want to roll side to side. We'll go back one more time. And already I'm feeling a little bit of cracking in my neck, and I needed that. Now we're going to do a shoulder stretch. I'm going to scooch a little more to the edge of my chair just so I have my feet flat on the desk. I'm 5'5", but this is a tall chair. My desk is tall. I'm going to hold both hands. I'll lean a little so you can see, just to the side. And you're stretching out your side body here. Feel a nice stretch. Seems simple, but I know 90% of you plus on the call are guilty of not doing this. So we're going to do it together, at least so you can say you did it today. Let's go to the other side. And we're going to go back to the other side, and we're going to actually reach for the chair, the opposite end of the chair. So I'm going to look away, and I'm going to look behind my shoulder and hold that for a few seconds. And there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't do this while you're on a call. Let's go to the other side, and you're talking to someone. Even if you have to turn your camera off for a few minutes to do this, it's worth it. Or do it, towards the end of the call or beginning of the call as people are joining. Have them join you. Why not? All right, now we're going to hug our body. We're just going to take our arms over. We're going to reach behind us. And I want you to try to really reach behind you. So you just keep inching your hands so that you're inching behind you and really getting a nice stretch there. And notice what arm is on top. So you probably usually would put that arm on top. So we're going to go the other way and do it the other way too.
Jocelyn, just a quick interruption
Yeah.
here. If you guys if you hover over Jocelyn's screen, right click and click pin, I hope I'm telling this right, then we can get Jocelyn in the full
Yes.
screen, just if you want to see more of what she's doing or see it bigger.
Thank you. I forgot to say that. Thanks, Rachel. All right, so now we're going to do a bicep stretch. So let me show you what this is like. So you're going to take your arm out to the side and you're going to have your palm up. You're going to take the other arm on top. And instead of pushing the top arm down against the palm, you're going to actually push the palm against the other arm. So you're here, what I'm not doing is pushing down like this. Instead, I'm pushing up and into it. And the reason for that is we don't want to hyperextend. But you should feel an immediate stretch in your biceps, which are these muscles right here, as well as your forearm right here. So it's a great stretch for the arms. Good. Let's do the other side. Just show you what that looks like. And again, I'm really reaching this arm and pushing this arm against the other arm, the hand. Good. And for our tricep stretch, there's a couple different ways to do this, but this one's pretty easy. You're going to take your hand at your elbow and you're just going to guide it behind you. And you're going to try to push it down your back. So as you're kind of pushing it down your back. And if you're really flexible, you could take your hand and you could grab for the other like this. And oh, that feels so good. Most people don't have that level of flexibility. So this is totally fine. Right here, just try the other side now. Woo. Good, good. Stretch, stretch, stretch. All righty. And now I'm going to move the chair back so I can show you this one, but you can stand up right where you are. And you're just going to take the chair right here, and you're going to take your foot on the chair, and you're going to keep your toe up. And you're just going to sink into the chair. Try to keep a straight leg. If you can't keep a straight leg, you can bend it a little bit and sink into that stretch. You're feeling the stretch in the back of the legs, This is a hamstring stretch. These tend to be very, very tight on men and women, especially women. Sitting a lot, we're not stretching them out like we should. They're a very big muscle group back here. Let's do the other side. That felt really good. So you're just leaning into that stretch. You can reach for the chair. You can reach for the bottom of the chair. You could reach for your ankle. You can just hold over. Hold that for another 10 seconds. Okay, good. And since we're already standing up, let's go ahead and come to the side. We did this seated before, but now we're going to do it standing. Just to the side. Feels so good. Other side. And the more times you do this throughout the day, the more limber you'll actually feel. Good. All right. We're going to sit back down. I'm going to stay at this angle in this distance so I can show you what we're going to do. We're going to sit at the edge of our chair. So you notice I've got a lot of room between my back and the chair. You can see that. And I'm going to lean back so I'm not touching the chair still, okay? And I'm going to try to bring my legs up. So I'm going to bring my legs up. Little crunch. If that's too challenging, scooch back in the chair and try it. Little crunch. And you can use your arms to help balance you up and down. You immediately feel an engagement right here in that abdominal section. Did everyone feel that? Yeah, good. So once you've mastered that, you want to make it a little harder, you can do straight leg crunches. Bring it up, straight leg. There's a lot of variety here. And again, you could do that with your legs under the desk. No one's going to know. The next one, we're going to get up again, and we're going to just face the chair, and we're actually going to be putting our hands at the edge of the chair, and we're going to do a plank. So we're going to balance our hands in a plank position. We're going to tuck our pelvis under. We're going to squeeze our cheeks together, not the ones on our face. Okay, and you hold that, and your arms are straight, and you immediately feel an engagement with your hands right under your shoulders. You feel your shoulders are strong, your abdominal muscles are strong because we're squeezing our cheeks together. You feel your glutes, your butt muscles strong, and your legs are strong. Let's hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's go ahead and just stretch back a little. Nice. For our last demonstration today, we're going to do a kickback. So we're going to stand facing the chair. You could turn around, whatever your preference is. And you're going to flex your foot, bring your leg up to 90 degrees, and you're going to kick back. And you're just kicking back. And that's activating your glutes, your butt muscles. And again, you could be on a conference call doing this. No one's going to know. You're not making any noises. And we'll go ahead and do the other side. We'll do 10 on that side. Flex the foot, kick it up. And good. And we're going to come back to where we were. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Everyone work it in.
Feels wonderful.
Good,
Oh,
good.
great.
And that, awesome. And that didn't take a lot of time, right? It probably took about, I didn't check the time, maybe 5-7 minutes total to do all of that, if that. So if you do that throughout the day, you know, every couple hours, get up and do that kind of movement, it all adds up. And it does count as exercise, right? You were exercising and you're just doing it at your desk. And you didn't really even break a sweat, which is great. You don't always need to break a sweat to exercise. So stretching is definitely a form of exercise. And we got the plank in there, we got the glute kickbacks in there, and hopefully that gave you a little boost. I know it did for me. I already feel better. Any questions?
I really needed
So
that.
here's what
Thank
we
you.
just did, right? All the exercises. Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you. All right. So now let's go into the challenge. So I do see some familiar faces on the phone from my studio. So one thing I like to do is do a lot of challenges to keep people motivated. So we're going to go to the next slide and talk about the challenge that I have for our Women United members. So I have a 60-day action plan for you. So it's very simple. You're just going to keep track of these things that you do. On the left-hand side, you're going to give yourself 1 point for each. So every day, you don't have a phone or device in bed, you get a point. You eat 3 meals a day, and you include your protein, fruits, or vegetables at every meal, you get a point. Having healthy snacks, so no processed foods, you get a point. And then if you get your 8 cups of fluids in, sorry, Rachel, wine doesn't count. It's a joke, Rachel. You get your 8 cups of fluid in, and you'll get a point. 2 points for 8 hours of sleep, taking those mental health breaks twice a day for 15 minutes, spending 15 minutes outside. Yes, they count, as you could have one 15-minute health break as a 15-minute walk around outside, and that's 2. So that would be 4. That would be, if you did it twice a day, you would get 4 points for that. All right. Spending a minimum of 45 minutes of exercise. Yes, your desk exercises count. So doing that several times throughout the day, that could add up to 45 minutes. Maybe it doesn't, but that coupled with a walk outside for 15 minutes or 2 times a day for 15 and 15 for 30, you'll get it in there. I know you will. And I just want you to keep track of your points. It's the honor system. We're going to have a follow-up leaders call in March to talk about results for anyone who participated and wants to join this. And we're going to give a prize from Empowered Indoor Cycling and Strength Studio for the United Way Women United members with the highest points. So get moving and be well.
That's great motivation, Jocelyn.
That's all
Thank
I have
you.
today. Thank you.
All right, ladies, let's step up to the challenge. Let's see who can win. Any questions for Jocelyn before we continue? All right, Jocelyn, thank you. I feel a million times better. So easy, and like you said, just a couple of minutes. We can all fit that into our routines a couple of times a day. I'm definitely going to get better at it and take that challenge. Thank you. All right, so we have our challenge. I would just like to mention that we have an upcoming event as well. On February 25th, we're doing our Red, White, and Chocolate. Women United, we've done this several years. We'd like to invite you to spend an evening with us. It will be virtual in our COVID world. It will be virtual, but the planning committee has done a wonderful job of creating the same experience where we're going to have wine tasting. There's a tasting basket that's got some of the goodies that you can enjoy. Guests will be able to attend a cooking demo with local chefs. We will have getting to know you breakout rooms, because part of the fun of this event is all the networking and the chatting that you get to do with the people when we're together. But because we have to do this virtually, we've created the breakout rooms to have that same intimate feeling and intimate networking, getting to know you opportunity. The tasting baskets that I mentioned, they'll feature beverage, goods, and tasty treats. When you go in to register, and we hope you will join us, when you select your ticket, there are a couple of options there. And if you take the ticket with the tasting basket, then you'll get the basket with the wine and the goodies. And all of the proceeds from this event support United Way's economic mobility initiatives. We will share this presentation with you. There's a link there to purchase tickets. Actually, Lauren, if you could also put the link in the chat, that would be great. And if not possible, that's okay. They can get the presentation. We'll follow up with you all afterwards also about the challenge, and we can put that in there. I think that might be it. What is the next slide? Yeah, so that is all that we have for you all today. So if there are no other questions, we will send this information out to you. We'll send the reminder of the follow-up. Our events in the past, when we've had these health and wellness events, the follow-up event has been limited to a small group because we wanted to make it a little bit more intimate experience. But because Jocelyn is being so generous and offering prizes, we are going to open this up to everyone who attended today. And then the follow-up will be available to everyone who attended today so that we can all be part of the challenge. We can all try to beat each other and get those gifts. Jocelyn, any other closing comments from you?
And, no, just, have fun with it. It's all in good fun. And, I think if you really do those few changes in your day, you're going to see a difference in your energy level. You're going to feel better, and you'll see the change. You'll feel the change, I think, before you see it, but you'll feel the change, and you'll feel better, and you'll have more energy to get through your day. And I think having a little bit of competitiveness as part of it is good. And, one other thing that, because it is so quick, I think if you spread that, if you start to do that at the start of your calls at work, with maybe as you're kind of talking about, oh, how was your weekend? Oh, how was your evening? Or how was your, whatever, you could always be doing that and say, I'm just going to do some stretching. If you want to join me while we're talking, for everyone else to join. It's just another thing to kind of get spreading the word about having a balance between your well-being, your health, and work, because we are always on the go and we never slow down. And this might help spread some of that to other people who are in the similar boat.
Yeah, I think they'd appreciate that. Yeah, and we're getting so sedate because we're at home, and we're, my workspace, I sit at my desk all day long. You were saying that, Jocelyn. So that's a great way to move out of that sitting all day long. Thank you so much. So we hope to see you guys in March.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.